Hello everyone, this is a review of Alien Isolation. I will try to avoid specifics as much as possible, but there will be spoilers in this review, so keep an eye out for the word spoilers ahead coming up on the screen so you can skip past that if you need to. With all of my video game reviews, I try to review the game based on a few categories: gameplay and mechanics, graphics, audio, story, and characters. This is, of course, just my opinion, and anyone is free to disagree. So, let's get started.
I'm Samuels. I work for the company.
I literally just finished this game last night, so it's pretty fresh in my memory. In short, I quite enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun to play. I don't like that there isn't a jump button. Just getting that out there right now. Overall, the gameplay and mechanics are fine, easy enough to figure out after a while. The crafting system's a little strange, and sometimes I outright hated the hacking games. The last thing you want to do when an alien is on your ass is spend time trying to hack a door. Most of the time it's okay. It adds to the overall tense atmosphere. However, there were a couple that were too frustrating in my opinion. A few of them have reverse controls, and that made them more difficult than they really needed to be. So overall it was fine, but there were a couple things that were frustrating. Amazing. The graphics on the people were actually a little shaky sometimes. Overall, they were still good, but there were some things that seemed to be just a little off. However, the graphics of the space station, the alien itself, and so on were absolutely beautiful. It really added to the creepy atmosphere of the game, and it looked just like the movie. So really, really good.
We think we may have found her, Amanda.
Stunning. There's very little music used, mostly focusing on the noises of the station and the alien itself. Like the overall aesthetics of the game, this really adds to the creepiness. There are a lot of times where I was completely on edge, even without the sound of an alien. And a lot of it had to do with the sound effects. Really, I was well and truly scared before the alien showed up at all, and that's the mark of a good horror game in my opinion. Some of the voice acting is a little shaky, but it's okay overall. Okay. It fits into the movie canon pretty well for the most part, and the plot makes sense and is fairly easy to follow. That being said, there's nothing really remarkable about the story either that makes it stand out. The game tells a story of Amanda Ripley, daughter of Ellen Ripley from the original movies. She travels with some other Weyland-Yutani employees to get the flight recorder from the Nostromo that's just been discovered. Of course, things aren't that simple. Spoilers ahead. Everything goes wrong. The space station they end up on is falling apart, due to, of course, there being an alien on board. Again, all of this makes sense. However, it's not particularly unique, and it doesn't really tell a story that we haven't heard before. Also, it drags on just a little too long. There's a lot of kind of repetitive missions, and the directions of what you're supposed to do aren't always super clear. Plus, I was admittedly kind of disappointed that there wasn't a single chestburster scene. The facehuggers were there, and trust me, I got killed by them. We also saw the victims afterward, but we didn't actually get to see the chest bursting itself, and since it was such an iconic scene in the first movie, I was kind of disappointed that we didn't see it in the game in some way. But that's not really an issue with the game itself, and more of my own expectations. However, it also ends on a very deliberate sequel hook, which might annoy a lot of people, though it didn't personally bother me very much. End spoilers. That being said, it's not a bad story by any means, and for the most part, it's done pretty well. It's fairly easy to understand, and it works with the game and the pre-established canon, which really is what you want. Okay, onto the characters. Most of the characters, besides Amanda herself, aren't that well developed. Amanda's pretty great, and a lot like her mom in many ways, without being an exact copy. You're by yourself for most of the game, only communicating over the radio. In a sense, it kind of reminded me of BioShock, but as a result, it also had a lot of the same problems that BioShock did when it came to characters. Spoilers ahead. Amanda, while great, is also kind of generic. Like the story, not a lot about her really stands out, especially in comparison to her mom. Other characters, like Samuels and Ricardo, are good characters, but they're also not on screen long enough to really become three-dimensional. And others still, like Taylor and Marshall Waits or Marlowe, don't really have much of a character at all, so seeing their eventual deaths doesn't really have much of an impact. And spoilers. Again, all of that being said, the game isn't meant to tell an amazing story, or to even have unique and memorable characters. It's supposed to scare the shit out of you. In that, it succeeds in all forms. The alien in this game is amazing and terrifying. You'll be on the edge of your seat while playing, both wanting to not stop and to take a break to get your heart rate down. This is a very solid horror game, and I'd really recommend it, especially to fans of the original Alien movie. Well, that's my review. See you next time.
We get to shut the book. Ripley.